RTL views state schools as being fully government funded for 4 out of 10 tasks, reliant on schools and teachers to complete 50% more work than that funding provides for, and expected to complete 4 out of 10 tasks which cannot be completed whether funding was attributed to them or not. This latter group primarily comprises aspirations and associated strategies that endeavour to resolve the outcomes of human inconsistency without understanding the causes of human inconsistency. This can be almost completely reversed and education given a new lease of life. Key to this reversal requires a simple viewing of the parameters within which low-level disruption exists in the classroom, and in particular those below the lowest parameter whose behaviour is regarded as requiring no intervention. By understanding internal human conflict fully and the resulting low-level disruption and inconsistency that ensues, it can be seen that students, and indeed all humans, exist in a state that is almost permanently on the edge of those parameters, or rule-breaking as it might just as easily be termed. A permanent state of anxiety that is as far from requiring no intervention as it is possible to be without requiring intervention. It is also possible to see how concentration is limited whilst occupying this state. RTL's unique formula for reducing low-level disruption in classrooms by up to 92% during lessons significantly increases learning potential by increasing concentration levels and achieving it so efficiently that around 9,000 hours per year in an average-sized secondary school, previously spent trying to manage low-level disruption without understanding the causes of low-level disruption, can be released for wider study and much more in-depth study. It is not possible to stop low-level disruption in the classroom without understanding the causes of low-level disruption and how widespread they are, being able to explain their role in the entire human race currently as well as throughout history, teachers demonstrating directly how life looks when those causes are managed respectfully, and how that respectful management through demonstration might develop across society. Using the time gained in Part 1, a full account of human life can now be studied, from the earliest recorded events in our history to the present day, a brief introduction to which follows. Looking at how low-level disruption develops during our lives, the many forms it takes, including inconsistency, blame, of ourselves as well as others, and a sense that we're not in control of our thoughts, can all be understood. This can be represented as a journey from a selflessly cooperative and unconditionally loving state in childhood on the left, to a selfishly competitive conditionally loving state in adulthood on the right. In the middle of this diagram we see our daily routine, our efforts at decision-making reliant on those two opposing outlooks, our instincts, most associated with our selfless, unconditionally loving cooperative state, and our conscious mind, most associated with our selfish, conditionally loving competitive state. Internal conflict, as the outcome of living with both, grows as we grow. Incoming information from other people or from our own activities is received by our instincts and our conscious mind. A conclusion is reached by both, an action if the information received is accepted, or a reaction. Both feed back into the cycle as new incoming information, adding to the initial information and repeating the cycle. Though it is possible in some cases for our conscious mind and instincts to agree, the majority of outcomes result in conflict. For example, a selfish decision we make or are forced to make, in our jobs perhaps or as a result of previous actions or reactions, will be reprimanded by the will of our instincts to be cooperative. Equally, an opportunity for behaving cooperatively will be reprimanded by our conscious mind as restricting personal development. Should these criticisms fail to be resolved, as is likely, a rising scale of conflict can be seen as each cycle concludes, from self-doubt to frustration to anxiety and anger. It's easy to see how, even on our own, we are frequently in conflict. In company, this can increase significantly. By the time we reach adolescence, this unending cycle of conflict becomes overwhelming. We become alienated, not only from the world around us but from ourselves. We are no longer capable of upholding the values with which we were born. and very little of what we see around us upholds those values either. This is an extremely painful realization, a realization that we have failed, despite our very best efforts. We resign ourselves to defeat, and eventually denial of everything associated with that defeat, suppressing everything we feel simply in order to cope. But this denial, by its very definition, does not resolve the problem. At this stage we enter legal adulthood, though remaining, in mental processing terms, adolescence. With legal adulthood we focus on jobs and money, a key part of sustaining our denial, a new life through which we can alleviate the personal pain of failure that we're forced to deny in order to survive. The role of the world around us now is to replace everything we've lost with anything that makes us feel better. Returning finally to the beginning of this diagram, we see how this journey into adulthood inevitably becomes the primary provider of incoming information for the next generation. This journey is what leads to what schools call low-level disruption in classrooms, yet it also leads to the blame culture and resulting self-doubt, anxiety, frustration and anger that not only permeates all discussion around low-level disruption, but which eventually exceeds the boundaries of education and reaches into every corner of global society. The RTL strategy is designed to end this cycle in classrooms for the most important of these groups, those about to become the next generation of adults who will enter global society. It does this simply by enabling human instinct and conscious mind to agree. In part 1 of the strategy, through fluent, constant teacher demonstration of how that agreement looks in the real world, and in parts 2 and 3, actions that further enable unprecedented increases in well-being and academic performance simultaneously that can also be fully sustained. In short, reaching our true potential. Identifying that all humans are both cooperative and competitive individuals simultaneously reveals the extent to which the existing curriculum, which is predominantly competitive, fails to meet human and social need. Though it is clear that schools attempt to cover various cooperative ideas during an academic year, it lacks coordination and fails to adequately inform students of its importance. Yet it is also evident how the competitive curriculum itself is diminished. In this diagram we can see how low-level disruption during lessons wastes time, yet we can also see time wasted by current attempts to resolve that low-level disruption, often requiring workarounds to teaching strategies and even communication strategies, which might appear to be cooperative, but fail to address the reasons that lead to the low-level disruption in the first place. By contrast, RTL's cooperative management of low-level disruption, operating throughout the competitive curriculum, minimizes interruptions, thereby improving concentration. This in turn allows the competitive curriculum to flourish, and for sufficient time to be released for a fully organized cooperative curriculum, also with optimal concentration levels, achieving increases of 65% in academic performance.